morning, traders, and welcome to My Funded Future. My name is Adona, and I am your hostess. This show is created not to only engage and entertain you, but to also make you a better trader. I myself am not an expert trader, but I will be the voice for the chat, and we welcome all of your questions. We'll be talking ideas, we'll be talking setups, and whatever it takes to make you a better trader. A little preview of today is going to be, we'll talk about ES and NQ, and we might have a little surprise later. We'll do maybe some accounts and free resets, but stay tuned and talk to you soon. All right, welcome, Luke. Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing well, except the like count on our stream is a little bit light. But other than that, all is well this morning.
Oh no, I haven't even checked yet. I need to see.
No, don't look. Don't look now. Give it like
I'll be so sad. Yeah. Well,
exactly.
it's okay. I'll get better, right?
We'll get better.
Okay, Luke, so tell us about the US market today. How's it going? How are we doing? What do we need to know as expert traders?
Nothing very exciting today. Sort of a boring open on Sunday. We have literally no economic data, literally no Fed speak. I mean, there's nothing going on that front, but we do have some earnings. No earnings that are especially interesting today. We have Domino's and casinos before the open today. Maybe you care, maybe you don't. But we do have a very big earnings week ahead. We've got tomorrow, SoFi, PayPal, Starbucks. And then later in the week, we got the big tech ones. We've got Apple, we have Amazon, Reddit, etc. So a lot of those high flyers. So even if you're bummed about the lack of econ data that's coming out today, you're bummed about no crazy fun earnings, at least you got something to look forward to. But Adona, I'm curious to hear what Forrest and Barbie have to say about this open that we had on Sunday. We dropped a little bit. We've basically recovered. We're more or less flat on the day. I'm curious to see where they're taking it. Oh, sorry. One other thing. Adona, guess what I have at 10 a.m.?
What?
Big announcement. 10 o'clock Eastern. Be there or be square. Tuned in right on this stream. We have something that I think will make waves across the industry.
I'm so excited. I don't even know what the surprise is, so I can't wait to hear.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah.
You'll be surprised. Tink will be surprised. Magnus will be surprised. Everybody will be surprised. Like, oh, my gosh. MyFundedFutures
Oh, my God. Shocking. All right. Well, let's welcome in Barbie then and Forrest. Let's have them come in and see how they're doing.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Yo.
Good. Ready to tackle the week.
Awesome. Well, Luke had a really good question for you guys. So how are y'all feeling about the market on Sunday?
Well, not a super impressive open so far, but
no,
that makes a lot of sense given kind of what we have going on, kind of digesting what happened late in the week and then kind of a slow day today. So it all makes sense.
Yeah, I feel like Mondays are usually like this. So what about you, Forrest?
Yeah, so we had I was looking for a retest of this naked POC from Friday, down a little bit lower. Let me put it on my chart. No, I guess we actually tested it on the 4-hour. Let's go to the lower time frames. Let's see here. But yeah, they did a little liquidity grab into Friday's point of control, popped it back up. It's going higher. So if we keep moving here into the open, we're going to have a little grind up Monday here. The VP it's not really normally distributed right now. We kind of have two modes. So yeah, if we start to build value above 19,590.50, then I think we're going to have a grind up Monday. Otherwise, we will probably just range with no catalyst, right? It'll be a rangy day. Just thinking of, I guess, the VIX right now has been dropping down to 25. It's lower than it has been, but it's still pretty high overall, right? Just want to keep that in mind. So we're still in an elevated VIX environment. It is dropping though. So yeah, like most Mondays, not too antsy to take a trade. I will say, since this weekly, this is what I was just when I was reviewing my stuff over the weekend, we had this high volume weekly close, right? Good bottoming out, kind of long signal here. My volume profile is not loading. There's also a node here that I retested. So kind of just holding long from this low from a swing perspective makes sense. Looking to retest, you know, all of this range here. Where is my measuring tool, right? So we're like halfway through this range right now. Why is this not loading? Come on, TradingView, you can do it. So bounce off of this node here. So in this weekly kind of story, this narrative, we're just traversing back up off of this kind of bottoming out signal, from what I can see so far. That being said, and I know I'm rambling a little bit here, but this is an actual thought I'm having. We are still in kind of this weird global economic policy environment. So while normally I would just say, hey, yeah, we have a high volume weekly after traversing a node, we're going to continue to go up. We do need to keep our eyes on what comes out of the White House, because stuff can change, you know, with one tweet.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, Barbie, can you take us on your chart of the day?
Well, first, I'll show you the chart of the day, but I didn't really get to show you the ES levels yet, so I'll start back on there. But so here's the daily, and kind of where we ended last week, as I was noting, we're kind of in the middle of this section, potentially going towards these. These are the 2 and 3 ATR Keltner channels, and that's kind of the normal range that I look for the market to trade in. So we had a smaller candle on Friday than we're used to, and so far we're trading inside of that. So I'll show you what I'm looking at here. So this is the hourly, and you can see I have a lot of levels right here, and I think that's kind of why things have slowed down as we've gotten in here. There's a lot of resistance to chew through to get into this gap, but we do have a gap here, and it's looking pretty tasty for the market, in my opinion. But what I'm looking at is, so we had this big move on, we had this relatively large move pre-market on Friday, and we rallied off of support when we opened on Friday. And what I noticed is this retracement that came back down really just kind of covered about half of that. So now that's holding pretty bullish for me. So I'm watching the pre-market high up here. It didn't copy over to my chart, but it's here, let me get it on there. It's at 55.62.25. So that's that pre-market high that I'm really watching. It's kind of right at this other level. So the 55.60 level is looking pretty huge. That's kind of the level that I'm looking at to break out and possibly rally. And I know we have a slower day today, but I don't really like short and quiet days. They tend to kind of have some liftoff power. So that's kind of the scenario that I'm looking at. If we get that liftoff power, it's going to start at this level, travel up around the 55.85, and then up to probably around 56.30. It would be kind of the main play that I'm looking for today if we start carrying that. But we could also just kind of get knocked back down, since this is strong resistance and there's a lot of stuff going on here. When there's a lot of levels, there's a lot of orders. So I'm looking for a lot of orders just to be kind of holding price in this kind of range. So we're in a really small range right here, and we could end up kind of holding there. If we end up in kind of a dead cat bounce where we're bouncing up here and then we fail, I'm really watching this pre-market low 55.16.25 to be that main indicator. If we start breaking through there, then I'll be looking for these lower targets, 5,500, 54.86, and that sort of thing. But now that we've gotten kind of the ES plan, I'll head over to chart of the day, and well, almost over to chart of the day. I wanted to show you all this too. So this is my first chart of the day, and we're going to have 2 charts of the day. The first chart of the day is really the earnings calendar, because I wanted to point out that we have a lot of heavy hitters coming in, and I'd brought up SoFi last week because it's coming in this week. And we also have Starbucks tomorrow and Snap. Snap's real hard to play, but Then later in the week, Meta, huge. Microsoft, huge. Apple, Amazon, these are all huge. Even ExxonMobil, we've got oil stuff coming in on Friday. So kind of, let me go back to the daily real quick so I can finish this thought. So when we're talking about these big earnings that can move the market, so we might be here kind of looking into, doing a little small breakout or a small breakdown. These earnings can take us to either of these extremes pretty easily. So Starbucks is one of the first ones that I'm looking at, and I wanted to bring this one for chart of the day. So it looks relatively quiet right now. There's a rally, and we're kind of holding inside of the price from this big rally day. But look what happens when I zoom out on the hourly. You can tell that Starbucks is actually really, really, really beat down. So I think it's like a 28 decline in earnings per share. So it's actually holding pretty low relative to its revenue and everything right now. So is this kind of something that I'm watching right now? The revenue is projected to grow. And so that's something to kind of hold in the back of your mind. It's got the same problems that everything does right now. We're worried about consumer spending and, the impacts of all the tariffs and everything. So are we in a recession? Is it really going to impact Starbucks? It certainly could. Are the tariffs going to impact Starbucks? It certainly could. However, when we look at the chart, it's kind of in that prime spot where it looks like a really good deal down here in the lower 80s when it's been up above 115. So chart of the day.
That's great. Thank you, Barbie. So whenever it is super low, do you recommend people to just pay attention to it, or maybe make some moves
well, I
on it?
don't want to pay the most. So if you're online shopping, you're going to go search for a coupon, right? So if you're shopping for pants at Gap, you're not just going to go check out at Gap. You're going to go see, are there any deals? Do I need to wait for a sale? Are they going to have a Mother's Day sale coming up where they would have a discount? I don't want to pay full retail. I want to pay at a discount. So that's why I kind of look at things when they're beat down low. In earnings, we're looking for kind of more of a surprise. So if Starbucks had some good news or a surprise, that would be when it could get like a quick rally. But I'm bringing it to your attention because it's low, because it has earnings. There's potential for some movement here this week, and it's a good deal. I like a good deal.
That's so sweet. Thank you, Barbie. That's amazing. So excited for everyone watching. Okay, Forrest, maybe can you show us the chart of the day? And then I want to open the chat for questions. So if you guys have any questions for expert traders, please ask, and we'll do our best to get to them.
They just want to make sure the reset guy is here today.
I know.
We've got lots to look at, though.
I'm actually looking at Bitcoin, and thank you very much. Thank you. I just got coffee and a cookie. It's much needed every day.
The question I got is, when is free resets?
Soon, guys. Soon. I'm looking at Bitcoin and MicroStrategy. Obviously, as futures traders, we can trade Bitcoin futures. We can't trade MicroStrategy necessarily. So I have traded Bitcoin quite a bit. I think someone asked me the other day if I trade crypto. Not really. I trade crypto futures sometimes. I probably took 8, Bitcoin trades last year total. I'd have to go look at my trade log. So just a handful, really on the higher time frames. We do have kind of this like flag higher on the daily that's formed. And so the way that I do measured moves, well, let me explain what a measured move is. So a measured move is essentially there's some wave or movement, and then you expect an equidistant wave or movement to occur on the chart, right? So here there's like this leg. The way that I draw them is just from, unconsolidated or stacked candles to the edge of the consolidation, and then I literally just hit Control C, Control B, and then I'll do it like that, right? So the projection here is Bitcoin goes up to like 102. So if I start to see a move higher on Bitcoin, if we crack this little high here, 95,903, then I assume we're gonna go to 102. The other layer there is a volume profile, right? So I always like to, when I find these technicals, see if there's anything in terms of liquidity that matches. Now, there's this node here. So we could traverse this node. We're already in it, honestly. We're already in this group of participation here from this prior consolidation on the daily. So traversing this node, it's not really a perfect confluence, to be honest, just to be clear, right? This isn't exactly something I'd be like, oh yeah, that's perfect. It's more just like, it's a little messy. But we continue to traverse this node and then go for this measured move here. So just based off of what I'm seeing, I don't expect it to be clean. Also, Bitcoin has been very choppy. Also, it's Bitcoin. You know,
Yeah.
really follow normal in terms of like fundamentals. It doesn't have any. So that's just how that works. But I am eyeballing possibly a trade there. And in terms of equities, right, MicroStrategy, because I do trade options, and I know we're futures traders here on the show. But for any of you,
We're leverage traders, so
true.
That's better.
Similar chart, not the same, obviously. I'll put them side by side. They're both on the daily. They look very, very similar, not exactly the same. MicroStrategy is like Omega leverage Bitcoin, essentially. So there is some EV to be captured there if you want to try out some of the other types of trading you can do with the money you've made from MyFundedFutures. And you like that? Tied it all back together.
That was a good full circle moment.
it's good to have different streams of income, though, so we can trade futures and options and make money everywhere.
Monday through Friday, cut the grass on the weekends. It all comes together.
Oh, okay. Oh my God, one of the questions is so dark about you, Forrest.
To all y'all,
don't repeat that one. I saw that one.
Like, I'm not.
It's just money, y'all. It's just money. Like even if you have a bad day, it's just money. You can always reset.
Yeah, it's not that serious, guys.
It's just money.
And yes, you gotta touch grass. Everyone's talking about touching grass. I touch lots of grass, y'all. Lots of grass. We got zoysia, we got alfalfa. It's all good.
Okay, Barbie, I actually have a question. How can we take the VWAP and highs and lows into our trading?
The VWAP.
The VWAP.
The VWAP is the volume weighted moving average. So
volume weighted.
I'll do my NASDAQ chart over here since it's clean. But I have the VWAP right here as my moving average. If I can only have one moving average, it's the volume weighted moving average. I like the other ones too. I have the 21 on my higher time frame charts. I'll trade with the 20 and the 50 and things like that. But if I can only have one, it's the VWAP. And that's because one of the reasons is I like to flip around on different time frames of charts, and the VWAP's the same no matter which time frame you're on. But if you'll notice, like, look how cleanly, this is just the pre-market, but look how cleanly the NASDAQ has pulled off of this. I didn't pull this chart to look at because it was a perfect example, but look how nicely that the NASDAQ has played off of the VWAP in the pre-market. And it'll do this in the regular session too. So I actually use both VWAPs. And so by that, I mean, this is the full session that's in the extended hours. And if I turn the extended hours off and we just have the regular trading hours, come on, TradingView, don't do this right now. Anyway, there it is. You have the dotted lines, and they're lining up with the solid line right now because I turned off extended hours. So this is just the regular trading hours. So this is just during the New York session what our VWAP is, and it's still, look how nicely this always plays during the sessions. It's just a great little moving level. So I use it to get trend because, you know, I'm more likely to short below and rally above. Of course, there's other things that's coming into mind, like levels and things, if I'm going to decide if I'm going to go long or short, but it'll be a confirmation. So if I'm looking at a level or something in here, if we're above or below VWAP, then I can use that as a confirmation. I can also use it as a target. If I'm doing some little scalp off of a level, I can use it as a target if there's nothing else kind of there. So there's a lot of different ways that you can use VWAP, actually.
Amazing. Okay, Forrest, I have a question for you. When trading intraday, how do you distinguish between a true trend reversal and a temporary liquidity grab designed to fake out traders?
It's a great question. So volume is the answer. So let's use an analogy, right? If people really want something, right, they're going to compete for it, right? And so what we'll see in the auction is we'll see that participation or that competition, especially in the session volume profile. So let's go to a lower time frame like the 15, so we can really see how this plays out, right? So whenever let's just go look at a trend day. And for those of you who aren't familiar with the replay tool, get familiar with it, okay? So this is whatever day this was Thursday, right? We had some grind up action. And let's make sure our replay interval, so replay speed, we'll just do every 5 minutes. So I want to see where volume builds throughout this day, okay? And this is what you want to do during the current session as well. So we pushed up, it's about 10:15 a.m. on this day, okay? And you can see that volume is coming in higher. So this is important because sometimes you'll form a candlestick, okay? The auction will reach out higher or lower, but there won't be anybody there. And that's really, really important, because if there's a lack of participation, then you know that those prices aren't important, right? And it's very likely going to mean revert, okay? For it to not mean revert, and for it to not just be a liquidity grab, we will see volume increase at these edges. So you'll see the actual session VP continue to accumulate. The POC also shifted higher. So intraday, it's bugging out a little bit, but intraday, whatever direction the POC shifts to is also a sign that the market wants to move in that direction, right? Because it's literally saying that within this session, the price with the most amount of participation has moved one way or another, okay? But very different from this session here, where we can see the point of control. It's really in the middle of the session. So super easy way to identify if something is, it's not super easy necessarily, but a good way to identify if something is trending versus just a fake out is to see where people are playing the game, right? It's a very novel concept, but it's why I use the volume profile. We also have this like obvious consolidation, higher highs, higher lows here. You might think to short this, but it just keeps on grinding, right? And it gives you that continuation higher, right? So that is how I do it. It's not always going to be this clean, but it's a pretty recent good example of how you can do that in real time. And so if we get out of replay, look at our current session, ask ourselves, okay, where is volume building? Right now, we don't really have a node that's forming here. It's kind of flat, right? It's kind of flat right here. We have our main distribution here, and then there's another, distribution at the lows. So if anything right now, I would expect us to mean revert at the open, retest POC, or come down and even retest the value area low, is what I'm thinking. Unless at the open, which is in 3 minutes, we build a significant, substantial amount of volume up here at the highs. Makes sense? Hope it does. Not, I guess, ask me a question again.
No, my only thought was, should we wait for when it opens to see what happens? But I do actually have a question for both of you guys. How do you adjust your trading strategy when volatility spikes unexpectedly during a session? If you could go back, what would you do different in your trading journey? Sorry, my English is not Englishing today.
Barbie, you want to take that one?
Yeah. So, well, first of all, since it's Monday morning, I don't think either of us, I don't even think Forrest trades the open very often. But even though I will trade the open, I'm very picky about it. And on Mondays, I'm less likely to hit this. This could very well, kind of like what Forrest was saying, kind of pop right back down here and kind of test into the 55.50s. And I'm okay letting that kind of dust settle, especially on the Monday, because this isn't super clear. If we're going to end up in a walk up, it's not super clear at open. So I'm okay kind of waiting and letting the dust settle a little bit here. But back to your question, as far as volatility goes, so I'll peek over to my VIX chart just so we have like a good kind of visual. So the VIX is falling, and I do have a video out about this on my channel if you want to. It's kind of based on kind of the lesson that we did on the live probably last week. I don't remember, but so we have the VIX kind of falling and getting lower off of 35. Now we're kind of down here to 25, and this is just a 15-minute chart because I do watch it intraday. But the higher the VIX is, the bigger the movements that the market can potentially get. And so that means more profit, but it can also mean more losses. So when I'm positioning in high volatility, when the VIX is really, really high, I'm going to scale down. So I've been, when we're trading with VIX up around 30 and we're making these 100, 200 point days kind of normal, my position size has been about, it's been between a fifth and a tenth of what it was last year when we were having, 30 point days. So that's kind of the main reason that I deal with that. And some of it is just like when we talk about getting the experience and getting the reps on and getting how many trades on, that's kind of starting to come a lot more naturally to me than it used to. But you do have to kind of start, if it feels bad, you're over leverage and you need to scale back. So if the market's making a lot of really strong moves and it's hard to stomach, then that's when you know that you're not sized right for the current market conditions.
Okay, guys. Sorry, Barbie. I just wanted to step in for a second. The market is open, and we're gonna post. Yeah, we're gonna post a question in the chat. Please vote. Are you feeling more bearish or bullish today?
And while you're doing that, I'll point out, this is kind of what I watch out for on a Monday. We've got the NASDAQ, see that opening candles trying to move down, and the ES opening candles trying to move up. And I really this is the kind of dust that I want to settle on a Monday morning, because this is kind of, the reason this is chaotic is because there is a lot going on. We've got people that have kind of changed their mind over the weekend or adjusting to this positioning that we've had over the weekend. So I'm fine letting them kind of do their thing if it's not really clear to me. See, I would have loved to have that retest lower and then broken this, because then it would have been a lot easier to play. But
yeah, ES just cracked that high, 562. Let's see what happens here in the next few minutes.
NASDAQ is trying to catch up there for sure.
Yeah, it's pushing.
Oh, this is one of those where I'm like, man, why didn't I just push the buy button? But I'm telling you, like, because of experience, because I've jumped in on this enough, I know that in the long run, and I'm always thinking about the long run when I'm trading, it's not worth it.
Yeah, I mean, there's the thing with trading is, like, if you could pause time and look across the market, you've missed out on so many opportunities, right? As humans, we can only deal with what's in front of us, right? So it's one of those things that, I mean, I've learned too. Like you said, like, you just learn patience. You have to accept the fact that you can't see the entire market. And even if you could, we're emotional, right? You might have the perfect setup, but you might have a bad day. You might have not slept. Maybe you got in a fight yesterday with your significant other. Whatever, bullshit happened. I don't know if we can curse on this, but it just might. We're humans, so you always got to account for that human factor in trading. It's funny to me too, especially like looking back. It's hindsight's 2020. It's super easy to just like point at like, well, this is what I'm going to do the next time this happens, and it's like, all right, well, here it is. It's right now is that time, and people freak out. So yeah, you really got to put yourself in an optimal position to trade well.
Succeed.
I saw someone asked about what to do if they're like on tilt. I can't remember the exact question, but it basically was like, hey, I'm trading a prop account. What do I do if I'm like, having a losing day? And it's like, my advice to you would just be like, don't trade today. Just take today off. Maybe take 2 days off, 3 days off. Just relax.
It is okay to bench yourself. That's the way I always put it. Like, I'm benching myself. I got to take myself out, coach, because it's not good right now.
Yeah. And there's that
Well,
talking about back into the liquidity. So we
Yeah,
swept
there
that
it is.
high, and we swept the high on ES, and it's just coming back to this POC.
But again, like, if you want to look at, we missed that move. So that was from 55.60 up to 55.69. That's even less than a 10-point move, basically. So if I'd even caught, like, after the break, I'm going to lose a couple points. So You see how that wasn't even really worth it to try to stress over. That's why I don't hit the Monday morning opens hard.
Well, I am noticing our views on here, and I see that we have made it to 1,000 views. Thank you everyone for being here. We're so happy to have you. Please like and subscribe. And because we have reached our goal, we are going to bring in the reset guy.
Luke the reset guy.
I'm back.
There he
The
is.
reset guy.
Ready to roll. Wow.
Here comes VAL here.
Yeah, we're dumping.
I did take this a little short. I need to.
Yeah,
All
this
right.
is kind of a little range on ES that I was looking at too. But I don't want to interrupt. Luke, the reset guy, is here.
No. I was like ready to go with some not even resets, free accounts.
Oh,
But then I saw that dump on
There's
Q
a-
right there, and maybe we should hold off.
There's a
Question for the chat: should we do
15
some free accounts now, or do we want to hold off and take another 20 minutes to look at the charts? Question.
NASDAQ is right down on that VWAP. So if anyone's watching VWAP after talking about it, we were right there. ES is not though, so that's why I'm going to let everything calm down.
All right. It looks like the chat's saying that they want to hold off on the free accounts, if I'm reading this properly.
Are we reading the same chat?
I don't know.
I'm going to send Luke some glasses, y'all.
Link to your chat,
Glasses for Luke.
All right, guys. We are bringing to you a serious amount of giveaways every single day of the show. We want to thank you for being a part of this journey with us. This is week 3. This is very top of week 3 of running this show. If you are new here, we got 1,000 people out there watching on YouTube. You must be a subscriber on the YouTube channel in order to be eligible to win. I will repeat. You must be a subscriber on the YouTube channel in order to be eligible to win. So if you have not yet subscribed, I'm giving you a 5-second countdown. All right. Free accounts. And it's for a plan that you all asked for all week. We didn't do it. Today is the day you're going to see a code for free Starter Plus accounts. These are 50K Starter Plus accounts. Code is going on the screen now. Be quick. 20 of you out there, 20 of you are winning a free Starter Plus account. Code is Dominoes. Big earnings today. Probably the biggest today. Still not that exciting, but it was Domino's, the pizza chain that we all used to hate and now love. Turn around over the past 10 years or so.
We hate. What are you talking about?
Dude, Domino's used to be so bad.
I don't know, man. They are a franchise, so maybe your Domino's is bad.
Why down?
Yeah.
Well, fun fact, as I am based in Michigan, Ann Arbor, Michigan, went to school, University of Michigan, go blue. Headquarters, global headquarters of Domino's Pizza. We also are the Little Caesars. I think that's a nationwide chain, headquartered Ann Arbor, Michigan. So we got a lot of mortgage companies, a lot of car companies, and a lot of pizza companies here.
Well, we're not exactly known as the pizza capital around here. We can do Tex-Mex and we can do barbecue, but pizza is not. We don't have good pizza game in Texas. I'm just going to admit that.
All right. I see people saying 20. What the heck? Why only 20? We have 3 more rounds of free accounts coming out today, guys and gals. All right.
These aren't just resets either. They're free
These aren't
accounts.
just resets. Yes, these are free accounts. Y'all said you're sick of the resets. You want accounts. So I deliver accounts. And everybody says they
Now
want
he's
resets.
the free account guy. We're going to have to rename him.
Yeah, come on. Reset boy is growing into free account boy, okay? But all right, to give y'all a preview of what's going on, every single day on the show, we deliver education to you. Education that builds. We go in depth. It's not like you're watching a slideshow, but just really true hands-on education. We want to help you level up as a trader. So we're going to get to education in just a second here. We are then going to take another look back at this open. And as a reminder, I have a big announcement coming out at 10 a.m. Eastern, an announcement that will make waves. So stay tuned for that. Barbie, what should the next level be for our next round of free accounts?
Well, let's make it so we do this one at 1,000. Let's do 1,500. That's reasonable, right? They can get to 1,500.
All right, you got it. 1,500 on the board. Share the stream, post it in your Discord. If you don't know how to copy and paste, look that up. It'll help you. Copy the link of the YouTube, paste it into your Discord, your X account, etc. And Barbie, I'm going to send it over to you for some education, and then Adona will bring us back in to take a look at how the market's faring off this open.
All right. Well, I just I had a little bit of a different thing that I wanted to talk about. I don't normally cover current events in this segment, but I thought that since this is kind of the theme of kind of what the fear and what's going on, it's not just the tariffs that we're dealing with, although that would be a great topic if y'all want me to cover tariffs a little bit. I wanted to just kind of go through kind of the history of Trump and Powell right now, because I've kind of alluded to and mentioned to this kind of beef that they have going on, but this there's a little bit of history, and if you understand kind of the nuances, it makes a little bit more sense. So when Trump was originally elected in 2016, came into office in 2017, he took a lot of advice on his appointments, and one of the appointees that he took some advice from the more established politicians was Powell. And he definitely seems to regret some of his appointments, and possibly including this one. So basically, they both think that they are great economic minds. I'm not going to get into a contest between who. I'm going to let you guys duke that one out yourselves. But Trump wants the interest rates lower. That's the way there's basically two ways that you can improve the economy. And one is you can reduce government spending. And the other one is that you can reduce the interest rates. Both of those things will help stimulate the economy. Trump wants the government to not be spending so much so that we can lower the interest rates. I said that backwards. Powell wants to keep the interest rates higher and firm. Trump wants them lower. So Trump wants them lower so that everyone feels a little bit richer, can spend more money, that sort of thing. Powell wants everything to be more restrictive, and his perspective is we need to be really careful to get down to that target inflation. You hear him keep saying about 2% inflation, 2% inflation, 2% inflation. He feels like the best way to do that is to keep interest rates higher so that people aren't spending all of their savings and all of that going on right now. So Trump and his he doesn't say things nicely. He's been very outward about it, calling Powell a loser and all of this stuff. But this started really back in 2019. So really in the middle of Trump's term, he was just going nuts criticizing Powell. And a lot of this drama was about COVID, because everyone kind of picked sides during COVID. We were all there. We remember that. So there was definitely some of that. So now that Powell's still there, Trump's back, and Powell is still there, and Powell got along as far from his perspective. He was able to do what he needed pretty well during Biden. Now Trump is here putting all of this pressure on him to reduce interest rates. And the reason that he calls him Mr. Too Late and all that stuff is he thinks that Powell is too conservative. And if we're getting government spending down, then we should be able to lower the interest rates also and still, protect the economy and get back to a nice place of inflation. So here we are this year, now that Trump's back, and Powell has just really, really stuck his feet in the dirt. And he's saying, I don't really care what Trump says. We're sticking with the plan. The plan has been working. We're not going to deviate from that plan. But now Trump keeps saying he's going to fire him. Trump does not have the power to fire the Fed chair. He says he's looking into some options, but he does not have the power. They are separate. The Fed and the presidency are completely separate. They should be separate. You don't want those guys mixing together. So that's where we are right now. Trump is back. He's saying he's going to fire Powell if he doesn't bring the interest rates down. that's not really in his power, but that is what's going on. So that's the battle that we have brewing when we're getting these. I know we're talking about the tariffs a lot right now, but this is still brewing, and I don't think that we have really come to a head on this yet. The tariffs have been the theme. I think we're going to have to come back down to what the Fed's doing once the tariff stuff settles down a little bit. So I'm definitely watching this. I do have a video coming out later today too. It's just kind of silly and funny if you need some entertainment over lunchtime. But that is kind of what's happening with the executive branch versus the Federal Reserve right now. So let's get back to some charts. Huh? I'm like trying to talk about Trump, and I'm getting really distracted over here because of this little rally. So who's trading this? Where did my people go? Anyway, so I'm looking at I don't know where my friend funded went, but I'm back looking at this chart right now because we're definitely holding over this 55.60 right now. And NASDAQ is coming up to this level that I was watching on NASDAQ also. Yeah, so I think we are kind of heading into this like walk up deal right now. I think both of us were kind of talking that we could end up walking up on the indexes today.
Yep, we just swept that. So NQ just swept. Oh, my charts just disconnected. Oh, Jesus, hold up.
I was having a glitch too, but then I looked back and I was like, wow, that's a big candle on NASDAQ.
I have TradingView open on like 18 computers, and I always forget to close it. So NQ just swept the Friday high, right? ES had already did that. We had that nice, like down to the penny retest of that trend line right under the point of control on NQ, which is pretty magical to see. And then now it's pushing higher. So we'll see. We could get that grind up that I mentioned earlier. I think it was like 903 when I was talking about that, or I can't remember, maybe it was like 907, whatever time that was. We're pushing up here. If we continue to build volume above this high, then we'll grind up higher. The one thing I wanted to know earlier is how the distributions are different. You mentioned this earlier, Barbie, actually, just kind of how there is a little bit of a divergence to candles themselves. And we also see that divergence in the volume profile. So if we look at where people are playing the game, right, there's a node here, there's a node here, there's a node here on ES. NQ, much more evenly distributed, right? This is pretty important. Anytime there is a divergence like this, it's just like a yellow flag for me on the day. We already know there's no catalyst today. It's Monday anyways. But in general, regardless of the day of the week, when you see that the auctions are drastically different, you want to keep that in mind. And really what we're looking for is for them to sync up. So how could they sync up? Well, we should expect either ES to fill in these gaps, right? Which would mean that we get some midday like in shape retest of POC. Okay, that's pretty common.
That's what I was really hoping for, was a little retest down, but not so far.
Yeah, so we got it on NQ, but ES really held in this node here, which means we might get after we push up, we might get an end of day smack down. We'll see. But this is very skinny on NQ above as well, which also, tells me that this might revert again. So just want to keep that in mind.
And we were watching VWAP I was watching VWAP on NASDAQ earlier when someone brought it up. We had a perfect little VWAP bounce off NASDAQ. So that's been a really good moving average to watch today too.
Nice. Yeah. Do I have VWAP still? I do have VWAP here.
I'm going to pressure you into putting VWAP back.
I just don't I've gotten so good at just using the volume profile that I literally don't use it. VWAP isn't bad. If you go to my channel, I actually have videos talking about how I use VWAP in my strategy, and you can especially throughout a session, like if you're above VWAP or below VWAP and watching for the cross, it is useful. I just have tried to boil my system down to just one thing, but yeah, there's nothing wrong with VWAP. It's one of the few things that I think actually tells you the relationship of price with volume, which is how I trade, right? I talk about volume all the time. So it just makes sense that VWAP works.
I think that's why it's my favorite moving average too. There's a little bit more depth to it.
Yep.
I just want to say that I've been looking at the comments and you guys are so sweet and we love y'all so much. We do have something for you coming soon. We'll probably bring Luke in for that, but just stay tuned. And then we do have a really big surprise for you guys in about 10 minutes. So stay tuned for that as well. And I'm sure we can raise the views and hit the like button so we can actually all grow together. And then I do have a question for Forrest. What indicator you use for volume on TradingView?
Yeah, so we can break it down. I actually don't mind. Let's do something really fun. Let's just delete these and we can set them up together. So all of you watching, get your hands ready and we'll just do this all at the same time. Okay, so I've got no indicators on this chart. This is something that I actually advise you on a weekly basis. Just clean up your charts and redo everything.
This is actually one of my favorite things to do when I'm getting frustrated with trading. Yep. This is like one of my favorite exercises.
Because, and I like that you said that, you should arrive at the same point. If you're consistent and have a thought process, your levels will be off by a point or so, which doesn't matter anyways, but you should be able to get your chart back to how it was. So I've got a chart with nothing on it. I'll go to indicators and I'm going to type in visible range, volume, profile. Okay, I have mine starred, right? But I'm gonna act like I don't, and I'll choose that. Boom. I'll add it in. It's gonna load. It looks way different than how I had it, right? So the first thing that I'm gonna do is hover over this little settings button. Go to inputs, row size. We're gonna change to 100. We'll leave the value area at 70, and we're not gonna hit OK yet. We'll go to style. I want everything to be gray. I don't care about these deltas for up or down personally. Some people do. I'm just going to choose the 1, 2, 3, 4th gray color from the top for all of these, right? It's going to make them all gray, every single one of them. So I just have a nice distribution showing me where participation is, and I'll remove the point of control on this visible range because I don't really care. And I'll hit OK. You can also make this not show up on some of the higher time frames, which I probably should do, but I'll just hit OK. So now I've got my visible range volume profile back. The visible range volume profile shows me the volume profile for whatever's on my screen. So if I want to calculate the volume profile from here to here, then all I got to do is put that on my screen, and this will update on the right side of my screen momentarily, right? So I like to use it like that. Cool. What's the other one that I use is the session volume profile. Spelled correctly. I can't type. Volume profile HD. Session volume profile HD. Click that one. All right. On the daily, you don't really want to use this on the daily anyways. So let's just jump down to the 1 hour so we can see kind of how it works. This is going to do the volume profile per session. So settlement open 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Settlement open and settlement close. We're going to do the same thing. Okay. We will change we don't need to change the row size. We're just going to do gray for all of this. Okay. And I do like the value area high and low. Point of control, we're going to make red. Value area high, we're going to make purple. You can make it whatever color you want, guys, but I'm going to use purple. I just like the contrast. You'll also notice my volume below. I've gotten rid of all red and green on my charts. Just to eliminate like psychological bias. That's why I created these colors. It's all in or anything like that. I don't care. I'm always experimenting with the colors in general. But those are the indicators that I use, are the only two that I really use on a day-to-day basis. Sometimes I'll throw on like the 50 on the higher time frames, moving average, stuff like that. But yeah, and you can see that we're smashing. We're just talking about this in Q. There's not a lot of volume up here, right? We're going to get sucked back into liquidity and participation because this is where the people are. The people are only here, right? And on NQ and in ES, there's a gap, right? There's this low value that needs to get filled in as well. So we're going to have a janky day until these distributions even out 100%.
I kind of agree with that too. It's just you want the markets to kind of agree on what we're doing if we're going to be trending up or down, especially between NASDAQ and ES, since they have so much of the same weighted. But it makes a lot of sense. The news today is pretty quiet, and then we've got the big earnings are later this week, even though Domino's was today.
Was it?
That's what Luke was saying. He was watching the Domino's earnings.
Oh, I missed that beginning. I just heard Domino's. I think I'm hungry. Haven't eaten pizza yet.
It's that time. We've just hit 1.7K. So
Woo!
it is time for free resets. Okay, everybody get ready. And I will give you guys a free reset code today. Luke gave me the yes, so I'm going to do it today. Let me know when you're ready. I'll give you guys a few minutes.
Do 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 do.
I was asking for like a little bell or something.
Yeah, we need some little sound effects. I
know,
wanted to do drum roll the other day too.
Exactly. Yeah.
My soundboard mostly has inappropriate sounds on it though, so
I think we'll get some soon. I know we will. All right, guys. So we're gonna give away 100 resets, and the reset code is going to be on the screen now. MyFunded TV 100 free. Good luck.
I just read the chat. They're out of control. But go get it. Y'all gotta you have to be fast, y'all.
And if you do, please let the chat know so they don't think we're just like giving codes that don't work.
Here's that.
It's 100 of them.
Yeah.
Type fast.
Who got it? Look at all these people got it.
Okay.
There it is.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. So happy. Okay. Well, while you guys celebrate, we'll have Forrest go in. Forrest, do you want to talk about a common misconception, something that we miss when we're learning how to trade, even if we go into trading?
Common misconception about what? I'm trying to think. It's very broad. I'm watching these charts right now, also. But we smashed down. Not, I won't even say smash. I think semantics are important. The language that we use is important, right? In all things.
That's actually a misconception that I see a lot. Is everyone is being very dramatic over very small moves that don't matter. Like right now, these moves that we're having this morning, they don't matter. They're all within what we've already seen. So then it would be like, oh, the market's dumping, or oh my God, the market's rallying huge. And it's not. It's like,
yeah,
we've got to always zoom out to get your context and see what's really going on.
Yeah, it's just normal kind of price action here. So, I don't really.
We are coming down to the low on ES. So I always watch the opening range. And we're coming down to that low on ES a little bit faster than NASDAQ, but we are getting there on both of them. NASDAQ has to get through VWAP to mess it with the bottom of its opening range. But what happens, the reason that I watch the opening range a lot is I know everyone wants the breakout, but when we don't get the breakout, that's a pretty good indication that the market is just in waiting mode. We're in a holding pattern. So that's good information, except we're in a holding pattern. I'm not going to put big bucks on a breakout. So
yeah, until this becomes more evenly distributed. This is kind of a theory that I have. I was going to type it up to someone, and I was like, I can just talk about it. But I think the market wants to be normally distributed, right? Not to get too technical, but it generally, the market has an upwards bias in general because more people are getting born every day and we print more money every day, right? So there's like natural inflation, prices go up, companies make more money. But in that upwards bias, I think the market generally wants to be normally distributed. And so you can just always expect any day that just isn't a D-shaped volume profile, you should expect those prices to get retested eventually. It could be next week, it could be next month. But that's kind of an expectation. We can see here how ES is finally coming into that low value area I mentioned earlier, and it's going to fill these in. Once it fills these prices in, and probably around lunchtime here, the volume profiles will look similar. That's when we'll get the next leg in the market.
Yeah, I've talked about this before, but when the reason that I'm always watching both the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ is when we get that agreement, the trades are just so much more powerful, and that's when you can have more confidence and more size.
Definitely. Yep.
All right. 10 a.m., 1 minute away. I said, Barbie and Forrest, that we would have a pretty big announcement coming at 10 a.m. Eastern. And the time is just about here. Do you mind if we take a little break from charts to make this announcement?
Let's do it. The market's not doing much, so.
Okay. All right.
Do I need my hat?
Yeah, you need your hat. I don't have a hat, though. Oh,
Chat. Do I need
I need to
hat?
tell you something, Barbie.
Yeah.
I went to a quinceañera, my first one ever, on Saturday. It's like a Sweet 16, but like Mexican
Sweet
version.
15. Yeah, quince.
Sweet 15. Yeah, quince.
15.
It took me like an hour to put those two together. That was 15. But I totally wore a cowboy hat. And there was like 50 guys that were wearing cowboy hats. I mean, it was awesome. It was a blast. I learned how to dance like a cowboy. I mean, it was pretty cool.
Look at you getting
Chat
cold.
says hat on. I'll get ready.
Hat on. I actually, now that, I left my hat at the quinceañera. I'm like, where did I put that? I don't think it came back with me. Dang it. That was $50. All right. Well, what that means that I lost this hat and I need to make some money back, guys, is use code RESETFUN with the ref link. It's pinned in this chat. Use code RESETFUN to get 20% off resets. If you were complaining that we're doing free accounts and not resets, and then you're complaining that we're doing resets and not free accounts, we said we do free accounts.
I still can't believe y'all are doing free accounts. So
may God help you, please. I mean, it's like tug of war. I got pulled from being the reset guy because Sedona's like, Luke, you need to give the people what they want. Let me do it. I said, okay, fine, I'm out. But if you did not get one of the 100 unique people who got the free resets, use code RESETFUN with the ref link that's in the video to get 20% off resets. Okay, trying to appease everyone. That said, here's my announcement to appease everyone. In Barbie and Forrest, I'm going to look to each of you for some feedback on this one. From now until the end of May, all right, from now until the end of May, MyFundedFutures 50K starter account has no daily loss limit. What?
that's crazy.
That's pretty huge.
It's huge, actually. I told you this was going to make waves. All right, so if you are out there listening, again, share this, post this. From now until the end of May, our 50K starter account has no daily loss limit. We try to set our plans to work for traders. We pride ourselves on being the mature, the transparent, the trustworthy futures prop firm for you all. And that means that we're always innovating and taking feedback and trying to deliver what other firms are unable to deliver. And so again, from now until the end of May, our 50K starter account has no daily loss limits. That means for only $97, no activation fees. Keep that in mind. We always have no activation fees. So for $97, you're getting a 50K account with no daily loss limit. You can pass your eval in as little as 1 day. After 5 winning days, that's all it takes in order to request a payout. Our payout approvals are within 24 hours, 40% consistency, and this beautiful community that we all have together. How is that?
I like it.
Why do you like it?
Well, one of my favorite things is that we don't have we have end of day drawdown like a normal account instead of the intraday trailing drawdown. And then I don't think we always start thinking about the now, and you've got to think about the tomorrow too. And something that I don't think I had really thought about when I started using prop firms was the activation fee. It's actually huge. I don't think anyone's appreciating. That's what I keep telling y'all. You need to tell everyone that you don't have that activation fee because that saves a lot of money.
Boom. Forrest.
Yes.
Thoughts on this? No daily loss limit on the 50K starter account?
That's huge. I mean, it's making it easier for y'all. You know, there's no other way to put it. Yeah, I mean, is there a downside to that, Luke?
I don't think so. All that I'm seeing in the chat is best in the business.
Well, I was a hard sell on prop firm, so that's why I'm here.
All right. Should we do something to celebrate?
What you got in mind?
Should we give out a few starter accounts?
I just can't believe you're giving away starter accounts. Might as well. If you've got them, let's do it.
I've got them. But if you don't think we should, we don't have to.
I think we should. I think it's crazy, but I think you should.
Did
There's
Luke
nothing too crazy.
I want everyone to look at the session VP on ES and NQ while we do that.
No, all right, hold on. We'll come back to that. No. We'll come back to it. Forrest, let's see your screen. Let's take a look at it.
This is important. This is what I was talking about earlier. But
it is doing the thing.
Yeah, ES is filling in, right? See how this is becoming more normally distributed? This is the 1 hour. Okay, it's becoming, I can't really draw with this on my trackpad. It's becoming more normally distributed, right? So that's what we expect to happen as these start to get in sync. The candles are still a little desynced, right? So we have that kind of shape on ES, and then on NQ, it's more, you know, of this megaphone. So just wanted to call that out real quick. Not to stop.
I'm watching that too. NASDAQ has swept those lows, but ES did not make it there. ES is holding pretty strong.
Yeah. So
either NASDAQ's going to grab ES and say, "Hey, girl, come back here," or NASDAQ's going to be like, "Hey, wait, catch up," or "Let me catch up."
Yeah, I think ES is going to come and retest this 55.30 at some point today. That's my expectation. We'll see. Nonetheless, very tight rangey day. I'm just talking about what I expect, but this doesn't necessarily mean these are all like A setup. Actually, none of this is like an A setup trade.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was looking at this morning too. Nothing's easy and obvious. If I get something easy and obvious, then it's real great, and I'll go full size and everything. But nothing like that yet. But I never have high expectations on a Monday. Sometimes a Monday will surprise me, and I love a Monday surprise, but also Monday is great to kind of get that perspective on what we're doing this week. And if we hold these levels, that's a lot of really good information coming into the earnings.
Someone said they're in their college bathroom waiting for codes that I keep talking. My bad, bro. I'm just trying to make you a better trader.
Oh.
That might have been the comment of the day.
Went to college to learn. I guess you forgot that part. But hey, what do I know?
All right. Question from the chat. What is the code for 20% off resets? The code.
That one's to you, Luke.
Is reset fun. Okay. We have a whole team here at MyFundedFutures. It's a big crew. Who do you think came up with the code reset fun?
Yeah, I was about to say, aren't you chief officer of fun, something like that?
Yes. Yeah,
so
I had my
fun.
title initially chief fun officer.
There you go.
Remove it. I was also asked to encourage more positive comments in the chat rather than just people asking for free resets. So we're working on it, okay?
Well, if they give us good comments, then we have good. Yeah, we have good stuff to work with. So
yes, exactly. I've given out a couple free accounts today to people who have asked very constructive questions, insightful questions, questions that will help us all learn, questions about levels, all that sort of thing. So keep that in mind, okay? If you're waiting. All right. And then Adona's letting me know, why is it that somebody got a 5-second payout approval? I can't speak to that individual question, but what I can say is that we have lightning. I don't know if I can say lightning fast. We have our payout approvals are best in the industry. That's what I can say decisively. 24 hours, oftentimes faster.
I've never personally waited a day.
It's always been faster.
Yeah, you guys are pretty fast. I think when you guys first started, it was a little slower. It took you almost a day.
Almost a day. And we just keep building. That's why, again, we have this 50K starter with no daily loss limit. Link to check that out is in the chat. And again, the code RESETFUN is for all of you who want 20% off resets. You can use it 3 times. If you do not use it 3 times, it goes away. So keep that in mind. All right. Should we give away some free starter accounts to celebrate?
I like free.
Advent? You like free?
It's my favorite price.
All right. If you are out there watching, you need to be a subscriber on this YouTube channel in order to be eligible to win a free account. Again, if you are out there watching, you need to be a subscriber on the YouTube channel in order to be eligible to win a free account. To celebrate the announcement, and you all heard it first, that our 50K starter account will have no daily loss limit. We are giving away some 50K starter accounts. Make sure you're subscribed. This is my last call. Question starter, starter plus is for starter. Code is going on the screen now. Luke special. I love making the codes. I have a lot of fun. Good. 20 of you out there are winning free 50K starter accounts. No daily loss limit until the end of May. Code Luke special, LUKE. That's me. That's how I always say my name when I have to spell it out for someone. I hope that you grabbed them. So now we've given away 2 rounds of free accounts today. We gave away 100 free resets. So now 140 of you have won something free. All you had to do was sit here and get education and get levels called out and get ideas and get the psychology tips. And 140 of you won free things. And I heard we might have another round of free accounts coming.
Who got one that time? You had to be fast. We got almost 2,000 people on the stream right now, huh?
Yep.
You have to be fast.
All right. One more round of free accounts right around the corner. So stay tuned. Again, you need to be subscribed. The chat is moving quickly. Seems like all very positive comments about the free, $20,000 worth of prizes that we give out every day amid the idea.
Just on a Monday.
Just on a Monday. But Forrest, I'm going to send it over to you. And I want to ask a question that you haven't talked about in maybe 2 weeks or so. But why do you like the 4-hour and 2-hour candles? So that's a question over to you, Forrest. Why you like the 4-hour and 2-hour candles? And then Barbie, after that, I'm going to ask you to share your screen. We're now about 40 minutes off the open. We've had a little bit of whiplash. You said, don't worry about the small things, but I'm calling it whiplash. My words, not yours.
Well, you can have minor whiplash.
Minor whiplash. Okay.
The 2-hour and 4-hour candles. So in particular, it's really the time of day, right? So one, I like higher time frames in general. I think that's pretty obvious. The 2-hour and the 4-hour, especially the 4-hour, is a good intermediary time frame. Like if you find a setup, at least in my system, on the 4-hour, I can lever up, right? And I spent all of 2024 journaling in preparation to leverage up for this year. My position size is anywhere from 3 to 5 NQ on most of my trades. So I'm looking for really good setups. But in general, 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. are key times of day. It's something that, we talk about in our community. So, my pal, good friend of mine, Soul, in my Discord, same thing, right? He looks for those same 2 time frames. But it's really just around volume, right? So we have the open coming in at 10 a.m. We have 6 to 10 a.m. So we get all of the opening volume on that candle close for both the 2-hour and the 4-hour. So it's just a really, really important candle. It can tell you what's going to happen going into lunch. And then same with 2 p.m., right? If you have a good read at 2 p.m., you're going to have a really, really good indication of how the day is going to close if there's going to be one last wave or leg on the day. So I give you 2 trades a day, which is really all you need. I mean, if you're going to trade anyways, you don't need that many trades, right? If you're going to capture most if you get a trade at the edge, it's going to give you most of the EV or the range on the day. You only need one trade technically, right? It's very unlikely. Like the market isn't going to do 6 or 7 waves in a day. It's just not going to do that, right? It's going to do like 1 or 2. So really that's what I'm looking for. And that's why I like those time frames. The 1 hour is fine. 30 minutes fine. Like the other time frames are fine, but they're going to get overtaken by the higher time frame anyways. So you want something that's a high time frame, but that can also activate inside of a session. So I think the 2 and the 4 hour are good in that regard. If you use something, let's say even talking about the 1 hour, right? The 1 hour and the 30 minute, you're going to see things on the 1 hour and 30 minute that are nice. But if you ignore like a divergence or something on the higher time frame, it's very common for you to get smoked, especially on a day like today, where it's Monday, it's choppy anyways. And so you just want to go as high as possible, and it's going to force you to be patient. So there's so many reasons why I like those time frames. But the end result is that you're just going to take higher quality trades if you trade on higher time frames straight up, right? And you can still, you still can do day trade on the 4 hour just fine, right? As prop traders, like you'll still get trades. You're just going to trade less than your peers who are trading on like the 1 minute, right? But you'll probably make more money than them anyways. So
Forrest, when people ask me how they can hold trades longer, that's what I always tell them, is to trade on a higher time frame. So if you want to take more trades, if you want to be more involved, you trade on a lower time frame. If you want to take fewer trades that you hold longer, you trade on the higher time frame.
Yeah, if you ever want to capture, like, especially the environment a few weeks ago, like if you weren't hitting 100 points on a trade, like, you're kind of just missing out. Like they were
yeah.
So 100, 200 points. I bagged a few 400, 500 pointers. I hit a few thousand pointers, like when VIX was super high. You're not going to do that trading on the lower time frames, because you're just going to, your story, like if you're trading on the 1 minute, let's just go to the 1. Like what you're looking at is so much different than what I'm looking at, right? Your opportunity is just is gated to like what's right here, versus if I'm traded on the daily and I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm not saying I'm going to do this, but let's imagine that I think the market's going to go from here to here, and I just short the entire way, and I've got 5 candles, and you've got literally, hundreds, if not 1,000 candles to look at. It's just more information, right? So obviously people scalp and make money. I'm not saying that's not a thing that happens and isn't true. I personally know I make more money by trading less and on higher time frames and just holding. So that's why.
I saw a question in the chat that was kind of like, how do you change your strategy when you're in different market environments? And I think this kind of ties into kind of what you were talking about just now, because it's not so much that I want to make a distinction between kind of the nuance between strategy and approach. So my approach is always the same, but I might take some different strategies, like actual trading strategies inside of different moves, depending on how the market changes. And that might be switching to a different time frame. So where a 5 minute might work really, really well on a day that the market's moving a lot and has a lot of activity, when we have a slower day like today, it's a lot harder to trade off the 5 minutes. So that's a day where my approach would be to switch to a higher time frame to look for the same strategies that I'm always looking for. But so I kind of keep my bag of play, my playbook, basically. I have a bag of plays that I'll do, and they can be deployed on different time frames. It's just depending on the volatility and how much activity we're getting, that's going to be where I'm switching to a time frame. Like on the hourly right now, this is always the context too. I'm just looking at this is going to take time. So it makes a lot of sense that the market's being really slow. If this chart looks messy, it's because there's so much going on up here. So when we were down here, it wasn't as messy because there wasn't as much going on. But we have trend lines, we have gap levels, we have swing highs and lows, we have all of this stuff here. So it takes a little bit longer. So this is a day where my approach would be to switch to a higher time frame instead of trying to find anything on the lower time frames.
Nice. I like it.
I don't want to talk forever though if they've got something brewing back there. What's brewing behind the scenes?
Something brewing?
We might need you to talk for like another 60 seconds.
I think that they're cooking something up for y'all in the background while I'm talking. So
Let Let me answer this
Well,
question.
well, yeah.
Someone asked what the point of control is. I mentioned a few times. I'll do a really short answer. Okay, so there, without volume profile, okay, we know that the auction has traversed these prices. We don't necessarily know how many people were actually participating at each price. Okay, so the volume profile tells us, you know, where people were really, really showing up to, you know, bid it higher and bid it lower. Okay, at some point in the day, there's a price where more people participated than anywhere else, and that's the point of control. So the point of control is the price where there was the most contention, where the most people showed up, where the auction was the most fierce, right? And that's that red line on every day. It's a key level every single day. You'll often see naked or previous session POCs like this one right here, right? The market will come back and retest these prices because that's where the most people are. Like if I need to go and get some liquidity, let me speed this up really to the 1 hour. If I need to go and get some liquidity, well, go figure. I go to where most of it is. Very, very simple concept, but yeah, we use those for trade entries and exits as well, using the VPE kind of system. So that's the point of control. Add it to your chart. Try it out. Enjoy it.
That's another one that you can use on multiple time frames too, right? And get because the daily point of control would be stronger than an hourly point of control and that sort of thing, right?
They should, yes, they should be about the same. It depends on the amount of buckets or like rows that you have. So each one of these bars is a bucket.
Okay, right. So like how much data you're analyzing, basically.
Yeah. But yeah.
Barbie, do you use backtesting much or the replay functionality?
Yeah, I use it all the time.
How do you use it?
I'm gonna pick on my orb strategy because I use it as an example a lot, and I already have it drawn on my chart. But if I was looking for a strategy to play like this 15-minute orb, and I'm gonna take the box back to just the 3 candles that I was watching. But so basically, the orb is the opening range breakout. So if I was going to go look into this strategy and see if this strategy was something that I wanted to add to the playbook, I would literally go back into replay, and it already doesn't have to be a replay. You can just go look at the charts, but I do it through replay a lot. You can literally just use this tool. You can go to any date that you want way back in time. I try to pick something that I definitely can't remember what was going on, and I will just go back day by day and see how this opening range works. Does it work well as breakout levels? Does it work well as range levels? How can I play this effectively? So I don't want to just go watch a video or read about a strategy and where the stop loss goes. I want to then go actually test it and see how it works in the live market, because it gives me trust in the strategy. So I have that confidence going into, but it also gives me the confidence in myself in executing it, because I've taken the time to kind of go back and practice and see how the execution works. Because in the heat of the moment, everything's different than in theory.
Mm-hmm. And you drew your box on this opening move that we had, Barbie. Can you talk us through those levels and what you're looking for?
Yeah. So I am going to do a video on this at some point, because there's actually a lot more to the opening range. I saw it was like a trend to put out a video on the opening range breakout. So I was like, I want to go look into this. But what everyone was saying was like, oh, just play it as breakout levels. That's not really, when I went and back tested that, it's literally, it was 50-something% of the time that works out. And then to be able to execute it well within 50% of the time was not real great. But what I'm looking for is, one of the ways that I look at it is just kind of what's the behavior. So on a day like today, we weren't expecting very much, because we don't have what I'm always talking about is the catalyst, what's going to actually give the market a reason to move and be productive, really. So if we're if we have an inside day and all of the price action is within prices that we've already explored, I don't really consider that a productive day. So that's kind of what we have going on today. So on an unproductive day, I would look for it more as the ranges to kind of hold the market. So if we can't break, if we're like kind of leaning bullishly and then can't maintain holding over that 15-minute candle, that's not going to be bullish. That's either looking for a bearish move or a rangy day. And then we did kind of break it to the downside, but again, we're just kind of getting sucked right back into that range, which I've noticed happens a lot on these slow days. But I also don't like to short really heavily on short days that are kind of pointing upwards, because we can end up in walk-ups that turn into squeezes. There's a lot of things that I'm watching, but I really treat them as levels, so we can break out or stay inside. And those are all things that I'm noticing. Do we break out of it, or do we stay inside of it?
Awesome. And I'll ask a question for the chat too. How do you use the ranges? Constructive question out to the chat.
Yeah, I'm wondering if y'all like the opening range breakouts too, or how y'all play them.
So I do the overnight high and low. I also look at the opening range. I do watch it, but not necessarily in terms of like a breakout or not. Again, because I use the volume profile, I want to see it, where this volume like come in when we test those key levels. But yeah, not so much anymore, honestly. Like, I don't really watch.
I really love it when they line up with other levels, and we don't have that today. We had a good example. We had a couple of good examples of it last week. And the lower level is kind of lining up with, was a settlement or close from last week. Yeah. So we had the close on Friday is kind of lining up with that opening range bottom. So that's something that I'll kind of take note of, because if we're respecting that close level in the opening range, that's more information for me. Like that's the kind of way that I look at the opening range. I'm not going to just blindly buy it or sell it when we get to the edges of it. But
I like
Okay.
it.
Guy and gal, can I interrupt you for a second?
no.
All right. Never
No,
mind.
come on in, Luke. What you got? I think you usually have something the people want. So,
All right. One more time. Let's see. What time is it? 10:25. We're down to the final 5 minutes of our show. P.S. We have a very special surprise coming on Friday. Friday. Very special surprise. So stay tuned for that. But ahead of that, I've got one more round of 50K starter giveaways for you all. We are a show of the people. We exist for you all. We do not exist just to give things away. We exist to create this community and to thank you all for being here with us and spending 90 minutes of your morning every single day with us. As a reminder, and if you weren't here, from now until the end of May, our 50K starter account will have no daily loss limit, delivering to you all something that almost nobody else can. And to celebrate, I'm doing a second round of giveaways of free accounts, 50K starter accounts. Again, you need to be a subscriber on this YouTube channel in order to be eligible to win. I'm also going to drop a link in the chat. So if you do not win, 20 of you are going to win an account. If you do not win, you have a link to try out that 50K starter account with no activation fee, no daily loss limit, fast payout approvals, etc. And so, without further ado, let's get that code on the screen. 20 of you are getting free 50K starter accounts. Code is Barbie Special.
woo!
Again, code is Barbie Special. You had Luke Special. Now you have Barbie Special. The code will not be Forest Special tomorrow, because you will guess that in 2 seconds.
I was about to say they're going to guess it.
We'll need some other derivation of Forest's name for the code tomorrow. But it will absolutely not be Barbie Special. Code. All right. If you got the free account, will you please post in the chat that you got it? You see my hands. I have no alt account. I am not posting in there, guys. Okay. And with that,
There we go. Someone got it. There's some got it.
People got it.
The way the math works, more people will not get it than got it. That's kind of the deal. It's a special thing to win.
Yes, but every day something like 200-ish people are winning something. I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like 1,000 people a week.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. So, all right. Without further ado, I'd like to welcome Adona back in to take us through some final thoughts.
Ta-da! I'm back. Well, I'm so happy the code worked. Any final thoughts? Barbie and Forrest?
So I had this 50% wick retest on ES that just got retested. It was also the value area high. Pretty common little technical thing that'll happen. Nothing much has changed in the story. High volume red top wick on the 1 hour closed. Still expecting us to range a little bit lower before anything else happens. And yeah, just a tight range day. That's it for me. So
that's kind of what I was looking at too, that high that we just made. So we did rally above it right at the open, but this latest little run that we made on ES just kind of managed to get into yesterday, but Friday's high. So that's another sign pointing to range and chop for right now, but that's okay because there's plenty that we can watch out for and plan for later in this week. So,
Well, thank you so much to both of you guys for being here. I hope you guys have a lovely day. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I also want to thank the audience and everyone that's been here with us today and every day since we've started. We love and appreciate your support. And all right, guys, so we've come to the end of today's market journey. Whether you're feeling bullish or bearish, or simply just building your playbook, remember, knowledge is your most knowledgeable value. My name is Adona, and this is My Funded TV. Until next time, trade smart and live well. Bye.